Hello, this is Caleb from Jacked Bike Mods. Today I'll be showing you how to use the VESC Tool App to program your controller for the OG Jackrabbit. This video will also work on future versions, unless stated otherwise. So for starters, we want to have location turned on and also have Bluetooth and our bike turned on. If the bike is not turned on, it will not pop up. So we're going to press scan Bluetooth, and first one that pops up, yours will have a different name. We're going to press connect. You just want to make sure it's a 71100. We want to press OK on the firmware update. This first page we do not need to worry about. If you swipe, you can go over to real-time data. That will tell you your battery, your speed. The speed does become less accurate the faster you're going. That might get fixed in future versions. You also have your power, your current, and your duty up top, along with your temperature of the controller down low too. I'm going to swipe again, and that's going to put us on BMS. That's not hooked up, so it does nothing. I'm going to swipe one more time. Now we're in profiles. So I have a few different profiles here. I'm going to create add profile. You can name it whatever you want. You can set the speed limit to whatever you want. You can crank up your acceleration to 100%. You do not need to worry about brake. That does nothing. You want enable power limit checked, and you do not want your output to exceed 700 watts if you're running the stock motor, and even then that can fry it, and I would recommend turning your field weakening amps to 0 if you're going above 500. So I will show you how to program this one for torque and speed. That would be two different tunes. So for the torque tune, I'm cranking this guy up to 700. If you go higher, do it at your own risk. If you put this thing on your bike, do it at your own risk. There's no guarantee that your 300 watt motor is going to be happy pushed any higher than 300 watts. This is entirely on you. So I have the output set to 700 watts in this case. This is a hardened motor, so I can go harder with less concern of it breaking. Watch the motor hardening video to learn how to do that. Do not worry about regen. You cannot do regen on these guys, due to the internal gearing. So if we press OK, I'm going to go down to the new profile I just created. You'll want to press use permanently, and that will make it where that's always your tune. If you use until reboot, that means it'll be your tune until you turn it off. So say you're having some kid ride it and you don't want them to have it super torquey, just go create a lower power one, use until reboot. As soon as you turn it off and back on, you'll be back to your normal settings. It's a nice feature to have and works great. A few other points on this: if you want to get really good range, turn down your output and turn down your acceleration. If your output is lower, the further you'll go. If your acceleration's lower, it'll help you go further too. Acceleration's mainly going to help you on the get up, not sucking too much, but less once you're up to speed. You will have less felt power. So now we're going to swipe over one more time to the motor config. We're in general. For the first tab we want to be in. We don't want to mess with these other ones yet. Let's go general. Go over here to current. This allows you to change your maximum current and your max current scale. I do not recommend messing with these ones. These are set for the range buster and don't need to worry too much about them. Worry about your watts more. So now we're going to go down to wattage. This is another way to set the maximum wattage. I did not save the tune, so I'm still at 1200 watts. Again, hardened motor. I'm trying to see how hard I can push it. But the higher you have your watts, the more overall power you'll have. And then another thing you can do is if you go to your voltage, you're able to change your battery cutoff voltage start, which is this first option here. That means once we hit 32 volts, the bike's going to start slowing down on the power so that we don't risk sucking our battery too dry. And then I like to stop at an average of 2.9 volts per cell, so that's why I have it set at 29 volts for the cutoff there. And then now let's go to general, the top general, and we're going to press FOC, that's field oriented control. And then the last thing we'll want to check out over here is if you go down to field weakening's all the way towards the bottom. If yours is going to ship with a 25 amp field weakening setting, that will get you to 25-28 miles an hour depending on what your battery voltage is. The lower your voltage, the less speed you'll get. If you crank this up to 35 amps, you're able to get this bike up to 35 miles an hour. This is not a one-to-one for miles per hour or any of that other stuff, and this does put extra stress on your motor, so just be wary of that. This is one of the biggest ones to change if you're trying to get more torque or more speed, because the higher you crank this, the less torque you'll have once you start getting above 90% duty cycle. Don't need to go into full explanation of that, but the harder you ride, the quicker field weakening kicks in to try and get you more speed, in very oversimplified terms. But those are the main points that, those are the main settings to go through for this. And once you have it done, you just press right in the bottom corner and it will write it all to the controller. You do not need to worry about going into any of these other settings. They won't do you much good. Again, the main ones you want to do are general, wattage, and then FOC, field oriented control, field weakening. Those are the main settings that you'll be changing to control your speed and torque. So if you wanted to go really torquey and do amazing on hills, set your field weakening to 0 amps, right, and then set your wattage to higher than 500, or keep it at 500. You'll get better acceleration than a stock OG. You will not be exactly where an XG is because the XG is built for it. It's more efficient, but it will get you up hills better than the stock OG. And if you push it to around 650 watts, you will exceed the XG in acceleration, but you will end up having off the line, the XG still going to beat you. You got to crank it pretty high for to compare to the XG's internal gearing. Again, I have other settings I've done to make sure the acceleration is not too crazy because I do not want to strip your gears. The goal is not to break your bikes, it's to make them faster and a little bit more fun. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll gladly help you guys out. Please make use of profiles. These things are wonderful. You can have one for drag racing, one for longer rides, and the stock tune that the controller ships with, you can expect about stock range, just slightly less, and a top speed around 25-28 miles an hour. Again, rider weight, terrain, and charge state do affect that. Let me know if you have any questions and have a great day.